Hey everyone, this is a clip from a recent episode of Another Pass, where we talk about movies and all the struggles that go into making them. If you like it, check out the whole podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, I kept thinking watching on my rewatch that this is a much more fertile concept for fantasy introduction to any kind of setting than I had thought about before. Like I like this movie came out, I was about 11, so like I enjoyed it. I remember watching the cartoon and stuff, but like, you know, it's definitely coming off of the point where this is going to be a formative childhood experience. Like I had already absorbed a lot of those movies at this point. And Sam, like you said, I kept thinking on my rewatch being like, oh, I don't remember so many scenes, but I so vividly remember so many ones that are in this movie. Yeah. So like there are set pieces throughout this whole movie that I'm like, oh, I remember dialogue. Or you know, like when on my rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, I remember all of this. And then there would be like moments where I'm like, none of this. Like I don't know why. Like just not part of my brain.
Yeah.
Like, just completely cut out.
Yeah, like there are huge chunks of the movie that figure so heavily in my brain that I like when I think Jumanji, like I immediately think like, you know, the stampede like going through the house and like the plant like coming out of the fireplace. But there's like this whole scene where they like go to the sports shop and all that. Like watching it, I was like, I've never seen this movie before in my life.
Right.
It's so funny because I definitely remembered the cop car like driving into like that discount shop and hitting all the paint and that stuff. Like, so I remembered like the big dramatic stuff, but like the other stuff, like I think maybe it didn't register how people were just rioting, and like there's just small things that like as an adult I was like, oh yeah, and I appreciated it as an adult. Like those comedy beats hit for me, the small like on this rewatch. But I think as a kid, like I didn't care about those. Like I wanted to see like the big stuff. I could never forget the spiders because I'm afraid of spiders.
Whoa.
And the fact that they were coming at him while he was his exposed head was stuck in the floor.
Yeah.
That was so terrifying to me as a kid.
And the close up of like the spider like mandibles, like
yeah.
Oh.
Definitely. Like so, there's like moments like that where like it was big, but I feel like the small moments played pretty well for me, right? Like this rewatch as an adult. Like I was like, oh, actually that's pretty funny. Like, oh, what brand is it? Well, it was brand new. Like now that you've stepped all over it, it's not. And it's the first time in a long time I have felt bad for a cop in a movie because he had just gotten that car and I felt really bad for him having it all busted up.
Well, I mean, he was already on like the worst path for himself by virtue of having gone from being like, I'm going to create sneakers for all, and instead I'm going to be a cop because some kid ruined my life.
What a career path. What a career path.
Listen, sometimes you just have to become a civil servant because it's all that's available to you. I'm not judging him.
So, on that note, that's David Alan Grier, who I did not remember was in this movie. Like,
I didn't either.
In fact, the only person I remembered that was in this movie was Robin Williams. I didn't think that any of the other people were like people I cared about, but it's like, oh no, that's Kirsten Dunst right there. And it's Bonnie Hunt, and even the young version of Bonnie Hunt's character is a Broadway actress. It's Laura Bell Bundy.
Oh yeah.
So like surprisingly strong cast, all things considered.
Do I this is just a fairly random question. Do you know like how this film was received like at the time? Like I know like what rating it has on like Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, but like at the time, were people like, oh my god, Jumanji, like amazing, or you know, were people kind of shitting on it? Because
so it did well, like at the box office. So from the standpoint of is this a flop or not, this is not a flop. Like it opening weekend did $100 million in the U.S. and Canada. So like we're like strong movie in that regard, and like it got the animated spinoff. Like I think it was taken as a family film that maybe wasn't so deep, but was like, oh, here's a special effects kind of thing, you know, like here's Joe Johnston playing with CG and, you know, trying to do stuff that was new. Like I remember seeing making of specials just like on TV. So like I think there was like a lot of like check out computer generated images. Like we're making animals out of nothing. You won't believe it. There was not actually a rhino there. Like kind of things, because this is just that early and like those kind of productions.
Case, I didn't know. What?
Oh, sorry to spoil things for you.
Didn't they actually turn
I know
the kid into
special
a monkey?
the special effects that are so flawless that you just couldn't even tell. That is true. There was no monkey in those moments.
That's crazy. Insane.
0 out of 10 for me now. It's fake.
I can't believe they didn't train those rhinos.
Right?
You know what? This is a terrible movie. And the sassy one, I thought for sure the sassy one was the one that was always lingering behind was definitely sassy. I thought for sure that was just a very professional rhino.
A very professional rhino, as opposed to the more common unprofessional rhinos.
I mean, the rest were clearly just extras, but that one, thespian.
Yeah, that one was the only one that was actually in the union. All the other ones were non-union, just scabs.
He's
just
panting along behind me like, I used to fucking play King Lear, and here I am in the 2-bit gig.
Yeah.
God damn it.
He's been
We're
to
10
a
minutes past my break.
Yeah. Ready to get overtime for this.
It's double. Remember, if you like that clip, check out the podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.